Good morning, everybody, here from a cloudy, overcastish autumnal morning in Johannesburg. Good to be back with you again here on KHG Blast. Going to give it another blast today and see what happens. Right. When on the YouTube, the thumbnail picture will be a picture of myself and my brother and my sister. Me on the left with the little hillbilly hat on, and my brother in the middle, my sister on the right. And I'm going to call this particular KHG Blast video, I'm going to call it Me Ray Doe. Me Ray Doe. Do re mi from Sound of Music, but the other way around. Me Ray Doe. Me being me on the left, and Ray being the little ray of sunshine sitting in the chair in the middle, and Doe, a deer, being my sister S on the right, who actually grew up to be a fantastic sprinter at school. Graceful as a deer, and today is still full of much grace, 60 odd years on. That picture was taken about 1962, I would suppose the second half of 1962. My brother was born in May, and as you will see on the thumbnail, he's a small baby there, nice round sunshine, drop of sunshine. And so I suppose that would be about September, October of 1962. I was in grade 1 at the time. Why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you all about this little picture and the time and everything? Because at that time of my life, my father shared a scripture with us as children. And those of you who don't know me, my mother tongue is Afrikaans, and obviously my parents are Afrikaans, and so the scriptures they were shared with us would have been Afrikaans. And the particular scripture that he shared with us in that time was Psalm 121, and there's one verse in Psalm 121 that I want to read, is verse 6, and I'm going to read it to you first in Afrikaans, the way that I would have heard it originally from my dad. And it says there in verse 6, Die son sal jou bedags nie steek nie, die maan ook nie by nag nie. Now, for those of you who don't understand Afrikaans, let me give you the King James equivalent from Psalm 121 and verse 6 it is. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Okay, that's it. So what has this got to do with the picture in front on the thumbnail of that you see on the thumbnail? Quite a lot actually, because from where I'm sitting, or kneeling there actually, about 20 yards in front of me would have been the gravel road that goes up to the main homestead, the front door to the steps of a big veranda, and anyway, that was our homestead. The farm was Cornelia Farm in the Headlands area, in Rhodesia as it was then, and my dad and I had been out in the lands. My dad was a farmer, and I'd been with him. So obviously school holidays, because I'm in grade 1, and so we're going up towards the house, walking. It's about lunchtime. We're coming home for lunch, and the sun is cooking hot, and I'm barefoot, a little 7-year-old there, and we're walking up towards the house on this gravel to the steps, and the gravel is actually on the road. The gravel is actually just burning the soles of my feet, and with this happening, or this burning of my feet, and you're kind of dancing on the gravel there, trying to get up to the house as quick as possible, and I'm thinking to myself this particular verse in Psalm 121 verse 6. Now, I'm 7 years old, okay, just started school, grade 1, and I'm thinking, but I've just last night heard, or whatever it was, prior to that, heard my Bible, my father reading from the Bible, the sun shall not smite thee by day. And as a 7-year-old, I had already worked out that, the gravel is hot because the sun's shining on it. So it's the sun that's actually doing the thing. It's because of the sun that the gravel is hot, and because the gravel is hot, it's burning my feet. Die son sal jou bedags nie steek nie. The sun shall not smite thee by day. And I'm thinking, what and this is the whole point of the whole exercise. At the age of 7, I'm already beginning to question what I couldn't read it at that stage, but certainly I heard it from the Bible. So I'm already questioning what there is in the Bible, what's written in the Bible. How can this be true? I've just heard that the sun shall not smite thee by day. I mean, it's hot, my head's cooking, my feet are burning, so, is the Bible true? I mean, and this was, I think, the beginning for me of my quest, my journey into the Scriptures, into the understanding of the Scriptures, and what do the Scriptures say? What do they actually mean when you read the stuff in the Scriptures? Do you take them literally? Is there another way to read them, another way to understand them? As a 7-year-old, you're thinking this is not true, because I'm getting cooked over here. When it's hot outside and my feet are burning. So so even from a young age, my mind started thinking, what are the Scriptures actually saying to me? And as it turned out in later life, it was my great blessing and honor and privilege to be involved in Bible translation many years later, after I'd gone to college and so on, and have. I still don't have the understanding, actually. The Scriptures are so wonderful and so deep that one has to really take a good look at them and understand what's going on there. But it's not wrong. It's not wrong for us to look at the Scriptures and see something there that we don't understand and then question it. I think that is what ought to happen. That is what should be for us. I've always said that we as people, we are people of we are integral units. In other words, we are a whole unit. As Christians especially, we are a whole unit. We are body, soul, spirit, which is a whole unit. You can't separate one from the other. If it's just a body, you're dead. If your soul is missing, you're psychopathic or something. Your life doesn't. If you've got no spirit, you're dead. So to be a human, a practicing human, you got to have wholeness in body, soul, and spirit. And as a Christian, to have wholeness, you need to be united. Well, as a Christian, obviously, you are united to Christ. You're one with Christ. You're one with God. You're one with the Father. You're one with the Spirit. He lives in us. And so it becomes a matter of knowing this and of hearing the Spirit in us speaking, so that we can understand what God is trying to say to us through His Spirit, through His Scriptures, through general creation. That which is created around us. God is always speaking to us from different sources, as it were. But the point of this particular law, I think, is that from a very young age, I looked at the Scriptures and I questioned the Scriptures, not to think that they're wrong, but to think that, well, as a 7-year-old, you think it's wrong, but as you grow old and as you mature, you look at the Scriptures and you try and find answers, because they don't always, things aren't always as they appear. A couple of years ago, I was involved in a car accident with my wife, and we were rear-ended on the highway near Modderfontein, and I walked away from the thing, nothing wrong. My wife was sat next to me. Her neck was hurt, her back was hurt, and everything was hurt. And then the thing that struck me as, I walk away from the accident saying, by the grace of God, nothing happened to me. But yet my wife walked away from the accident injured. So wasn't there grace for her, but grace for me? So immediately our understanding of God's grace needs to undergo a change, because what does God's grace therefore refer to? I'm not going to answer that here. It's just a question I'm putting out there about God's grace and our understanding of Scriptures. I remember many years ago, back in the, what would have been the early 80s, I suppose, before I went to Bible college, with I suppose the emergence of the word faith message from Copeland and Hagen and Savelle and those guys, and they talked about God's riches, grace being an acronym for God's riches at Christ's expense, and they based it on scripture and said we all got to be rich, in other words, cash wise, money and aeroplanes and whatever, cars, and so they use that God's riches at Christ's expense, and I didn't like that at the time. I still don't like that kind of definition, because you can get very confused, because there are rich Christians, there are poor Christians. Financially speaking, so one's got to define rich. You've got to define what they mean by Christ's expense, and you've got to define grace, I suppose. And I've got a little thing here in my, if I can get it quickly, in my prayer book, which I've written. This is my prayer book over here. I guess like a big file, and I've written in here my definition of grace, which is, if I can just maybe put it up here, grace is not earned, mercy is not deserved. Okay, sort of thing I go through every morning. So grace is something that I just haven't earned. Ephesians says we are saved by grace through faith, and so it's grace is not earned. So, but anyway, getting back to the original point, even from the age of 7, I was asking myself, what does the Bible mean by this passage or by these words? And I think that's a good question for us to ask ourselves until the Lord comes to fetch us one day. We need to ask ourselves, what does the scripture mean? We need to dig into it. We need to pray about it. We need to get spiritual insight into what God is saying to us, not only through general revelation, through the scriptures, through people who prophesy over us, through the preachers who minister to us, and other sources, but especially through the scriptures. When God speaks through the scriptures, what is God actually saying to us? Question it, look at it, delve into it, make sure that you are understanding God. And the only way to do that really is by God's Spirit who is in us, for Him to reveal what He is trying to say to us. In other words, we won't be harmed. Under God's protection, we won't be harmed. I read in another version of that, Psalm 121 verse 6, you won't get sunstroke and you won't get moonstruck. Now moonstruck, that's got quite a few meanings for us. Moonstruck being go mad, or moonstruck being you in love, or whatever kind of connotation would you put there. So we really need to get a hold of the scriptures and understand them properly and hear what God is saying to us. So that's my prayer for you today, is to never stop questioning what you read in the Bible. Not because the Bible is untrue, but because our understanding is not always complete. In fact, it's never complete. So we need to always dig in there, because God is infinite and His wisdom is infinite, yet ours is finite. So get in there, get stuck in, hear what God is saying, and get a hold of what God is saying to you on a personal level, for you to understand and for you to know and for you to go forward in God's grace, mercy and love. God bless you, stay well and have an excellent day.